The icy wind bit at Austa's face as she pushed through the waist-deep snow, searching for her brother Björn. He shouldn't have come out this far. 12-year-old Björn had always been too curious, and recently too reckless. Lately, he had been testing the limits of his behavior, taunting others and ignoring the warnings of the elders. It had started innocently enough, with the children gathering at the village square to listen to the elders tell stories. The air had been filled with the scent of pine and the soft glow of lanterns. When old John began recounting the dark legends of Christmas, the younger ones huddled closer, eyes wide as he described an ogress's twisted form and insatiable hunger for disobedient children. Björn, however, had scoffed, whispering to Austa that the stories were just tales meant to scare them. Over the past few days, he had pushed the boundaries of mischief. He had tied a rope across the path to trip neighbors, stolen sweets from the village baker, and even released the goats from their pen, laughing as the animals scattered into the streets, causing chaos. Before Austa could stop him, he had decided to challenge the legend itself. Tonight, he sneaked off into the woods, daring Gryla to find him. "See?" he had said to Austa as they wandered deeper into the woods, breaking off bits of the pastries and leaving a trail behind. "I know what I'm doing. If we get lost, we'll just follow this back." "Björn!" she shouted when she lost sight of her brother, but silence pressed in around her, broken only by the wind whistling through the trees. Her breath quickened, forming small clouds in the frigid air as she strained to listen, heart pounding louder with each passing second. A faint sound, a crunch of snow, then another. She scanned the darkness, her body quivering. "Austa!" The whisper was barely audible. Her chest tightened. She took a step forward, boots sinking into the snow with a muffled thud. The darkness seemed to press in around her. "Björn?" she whispered back, her voice shaking. No response came. She dared to take another step, the feeling of being watched crawling over her skin. A shadow shifted, moving at the edge of her vision. Austa's pulse quickened, eyes darting as she searched for her brother's face. The quiet crunch of snow came again, closer this time, as if something or someone was circling. She caught a flash of movement, a glimmer of pale eyes reflecting for a split second before disappearing into the dark. A shiver ran down her spine as she realized it wasn't Björn's eyes she had seen. She finally found him huddled behind a tree, his face pale and eyes wide with terror. "She's here," he whispered, shivering uncontrollably. "Who?" she asked, though she already knew. The stories of Gryla, the monstrous Christmas ogress, weren't meant to be real. They were tales to frighten children into behaving. A low, wheezing breath came from behind them. Austa turned, her heart pounding. In the shadows, something massive moved, a hulking form with a twisted silhouette. Gryla. Her skin was gray and stretched tight over bones, covered with sores and scars. Hair like knotted ropes fell around her face, writhing with maggots. Two horns jutted from her head, and her eyes, pale and dead, gleamed hungrily. She smiled, revealing teeth like jagged stones, slick with remnants of past meals.
"Naughty children,"
she hissed, each word crawling through the air.
"Naughty children taste the sweetest."
Björn whimpered as Austa pulled him to his feet. They stumbled through the snow, branches tearing at their clothes, the thud of Gryla's footsteps echoing behind them. Austa dared to look back and saw bones hanging from Gryla's belt.
"Run!"
she shouted, but it was too late. Gryla's clawed hand grabbed Björn, dragging him back. He screamed as her nails pierced his coat, blood spotting the snow. Austa lunged forward, swinging a branch she had grabbed. It cracked against Gryla's arm without effect. The ogress turned, her grin widening, bits of old flesh clinging to her gums.
Fighting back?
She mocked.
How brave!
Gryla's grip on Björn tightened, and she dragged him deeper into the woods. Austa quietly followed, heart pounding with terror as they neared a cave. The entrance was rimmed with ice, and the stench of decay poured out like an invisible wave. This was Gryla's lair, a place whispered about but never seen. Inside, the darkness was suffocating, pierced only by the dim glow of smoldering embers from an ancient, cracked cauldron. Around it lay bones, gnawed clean, and scattered remnants of children's clothes. Björn struggled, eyes wide with horror as Gryla loomed over him, her claws flexing.
Did you think you could escape me, little one? Your mischief ends here.
She leaned in, her breath foul and warm. Austa, shaking with fear, hid behind a jagged rock, eyes darting around the cave for anything that could help. Her gaze landed on a rusted meat cleaver, lying among the debris. She grabbed it, the cold metal biting into her palm, and crept closer, her heart thundering in her chest.
You will join them,
she said, pointing at her collection of bones. She raised one hand, preparing to strike. With a burst of desperation, Austa sprang from the shadows and swung the cleaver into Gryla's side. The ogress roared, black blood splattering across the stone walls, steaming where it hit. The metallic stench filled the cave as Gryla turned, eyes blazing with fury, and lashed out, sending Austa sprawling into a pile of bones.
You dare strike me?
Gryla thundered, her voice shaking the cave. The walls seemed to close in, the embers flaring as if fueled by her rage. She advanced, her claws dripping with dark blood. Björn scrambled away, his hands brushing against broken bits of bone. He grabbed a jagged shard and thrust it into Gryla's leg. She howled, the sound deafening and filled with a mix of pain and rage, and staggered back. The siblings exchanged a panicked glance. Austa noticed the light from the embers growing brighter, reflecting off the icy walls. An idea sparked in her mind.
Björn, the embers! Kick them!
She shouted. Björn's eyes widened in understanding. He swept his arm across the floor, sending a spray of glowing coals toward Gryla. The embers caught on the ragged old cloth that hung from her waist, flaring up. Gryla screeched, her movements frantic, as she tried to pat out the flames. The fire illuminated the cave, revealing more grotesque details. Skulls half buried in frost, a cauldron filled with what looked like bone fragments and meat. Gryla's skin sizzled where the flames were, and she thrashed, the walls echoing with her furious roars. Austa seized the moment and grabbed Björn's arm.
Now, we have to go.
They stumbled toward the cave's entrance. Gryla's shrieks followed.
I'll find you again,
she bellowed as they broke into the open. The first rays of dawn finally piercing the darkness and casting long shadows over the snow. The light seared Gryla's eyes as she retreated into the dark corners of her lair. Austa and Björn bolted from the cave, their limbs shaking, lungs burning with each gasp of the freezing air. The village lights appeared ahead. They collapsed at the edge of the forest, blood and frost clinging to them as they sobbed with relief. In the days that followed, Austa and Björn sat by the fire, their eyes distant and wary, haunted by the memory of Gryla's lair. Though the village returned to its holiday cheer, the siblings knew that the shadows of the forest held secrets that would forever linger in their minds. And each Christmas, as the village celebrated in warmth and light, Austa and Björn couldn't shake a feeling that the shadows of the forest's edge still held Gryla's watchful gaze.